Welcome everyone to another episode of HR and Payroll 2.0. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Pete. I'm excited to squeeze in a news episode, news and events. We haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, lots of news going on, lots of events happening. I know we're all very, very tired from HR tech, but what's your hurricane status? What's your where are you now? What's going on there?
Not bad. I'm still up north in Michigan, and we were in direct
Okay.
path. So I'm inland from Venice between Tampa and Fort Myers, and so took a direct hit from both Helene and Ian, and feel very, very, very lucky just to have had some pool cage damage.
Milton, you mean?
Yeah, Helene gave us a little dent, and Milton kind of tore some stuff down. So
Yeah.
however, it feels like nothing compared to what people are generally suffering out there
Oh,
outside of
I
Florida,
know.
even with Helene in North Carolina and the Carolinas,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, it's a mess. And to have them two back to back like that, I know it. I grew up in Florida, so the first 35 years of my life was there, and have family in the area that was hit there in Sarasota with that doesn't have power, so they're
Right.
still working through that. So I just hope everybody gets back to normal. And that's one thing that Julio, you got to be wary of when you move down to Florida. Is you sometimes get lulled into thinking that you can, oh, it didn't get us last time, no reason to prepare this time. But
Yeah,
that's the that's the Florida way, right? You want to avoid that. So.
that's right. Well, our plan is to stay out of to just snowbirds. So that means we're safe and
Yeah.
things are just
Yeah.
there.
Well, shout out to everybody that's there. Hope everybody gets back to normal. Hope, if anything we can do to help, please reach out. I know there's some folks in my personal circle I've been trying to stay in touch with and help.
My daughter's a nurse down there, and she's on the AVAC team for Sarasota Hospital.
Yeah.
So I know
Round the
she's
clock.
deep in the thick of it, and so are many, many other good Samaritans and folks that are
Yeah.
really trying to lend a hand.
So along that lines, Julie, look, I saw a really good resource from an employment law attorney that posted some compliance related playbook, if you will, or I think he called it, I think he called it that, the Hurricane Milton playbook for HR. I tweeted that out. You can look for that. I'll try to post it in my description here. But any tips or tricks for hurricanes? I've got a lot of experience I can share. I happen to be working for the Walt Disney Company when all three or four of the hurricanes with Charlie and those back in 2004, I think it was, kind of crisscrossed the state, which is really weird. Also, really rare for Orlando to actually take a direct hit, and so we were doing a lot of just communicating to guests and communicating to employees and scheduling people and getting payments to people to help with disasters. And it really became a big part of our BCP and DR plan. But what about you? Any tips or tricks that you would share for hurricanes?
Yeah, well, one thing I will say is I don't know if many folks know, but there are quite a few HR shared services centers in Tampa or near
Yeah,
the Tampa Clearwater area. So, it's quite possible that some of your, first line responders in your shared service center have actually been impacted, and we'll see how their BCDR plans, and their backup things into play, which is never a good thing, but a necessary evil. So you may have a little bit of a delay in inquiry. And I think the most important thing of all, of course, with every HR organization that I've been speaking to in the last couple of weeks has been, are your employees accounted for and okay? And so, through the shared service centers, and then, been working a little bit with Duke Energy, and they're majorly impacted in that area. Just thank you and shout outs to all of the frontline workers and the linemen, and, the reinforcements that are coming in from out of states to help shore up resources that you couldn't possibly have enough of in
yeah,
impacted states, is a lot of HR movement and employee deployment. And so this is when HR is at its busiest. It's open enrollment time as well, and it creates a lot of activity that isn't just the regular day to day in HR. So patience, as everybody tries to pick up some slack and help serve and service folks that need that most.
yeah. Well said. No, that's perfectly said. And I would just say, yeah. I mean, I think whether you live in a hurricane area or not, you definitely want to have that sort of emergency contingency plan playbook, if you will, for how you can come back together, right? Make sure that you are at least, keeping the lights on from an HR perspective, communicating well. And that's got to go through a couple of lenses, right? Not just the compliance lens, but that of your workforce type and your culture and all that. So yeah, definitely have a playbook and a plan for these things, because it's going to be very important, and it's much less chaotic whenever you do, for sure. So hang in there, everyone. Hopefully, we'll get through hurricane season here. So, well, Julie, look, let's talk HR tech, right? We
Yeah.
had a couple of events out there. I know I was at HR Tech Rising, and I know you were at some as well. So, thought we could share on those. What'd you think about HR Tech?
Oh, it's always such an event
Yeah.
to join and so many folks there. So it makes it really easy to see a lot of new things and innovations and to meet a lot of old friends and new friends that are there learning about the different technologies that are there. And of course, we had a first experience being hosted on Workday's Forever Forward bus
Yes.
and
Thank you.
did a few recordings. So thank you to Workday for that. And we know we'll have those shortly to release out in our podcast sessions.
Yeah, thank you so much to Workday for hosting us. That was such an amazing experience. We felt like rock stars for sure. Fits their branding. So yeah, we were able to do a great episode with Christina Gold, the head of what I would like to say all things difficult and challenging over at Workday, the time and the payroll side of things, and then also our cousins from Work Defined,
Bob
Bob
Pulver,
Pulver, and
yeah.
the Elevate Your AIQ. So show. So we had a great episode with him, and then I got to sneak one on with John Lowe, the CHRO and Chief People Officer over at DailyPay. So you can listen for that one soon. But yes, thank you so much to Workday for giving us that hospitality. It's
Yep,
amazing.
what a fun experience, and I know you've put pictures out there. I've been a little bit. I'm always a little slower than you, but it was really a cool experience.
Yeah.
Like you said, felt like rock stars.
Yeah, it was a great event. It was a great event. As usual, I came back exhausted. I think last week I was just still coming back around, taking my vitamins and getting my voice back. I definitely podcasted so hard all day, every day. It felt like for our show for Daily Pay, and yeah, just really appreciate the opportunity to be there. And it was a lot of fun. You can actually catch a episode I did with the Source by Daily Pay. We did an episode with Jill Barth, the one of the editors over at HR Tech, to talk about their new branding. I don't know if you noticed that, Julie. They had some new branding, new logo. They were giving out some hats and some swag on that. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw
that's
that, but
right. That's right.
yeah. So they're looking good. But anyway, I'm curious what you thought about the products that you saw, Julie, or just just the themes, or maybe what was your kind of key takeaway? Because I got to give you mine.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for you. As you know, there are always some heavy themes that come across, and I would say that experience and AI are still at the top of the list for sure. And that leads to a lot of interesting things and innovations that we see. And I will say I'm still looking forward to moving some of those conversations from where it feels like it's table stakes and everybody needs to shout that they have it to really seeing some innovative useful applications of solving both experience and AI challenges. So I know you're always a fan of watching some of those very closely. So which ones caught your
Yeah.
attention?
Yeah, yeah, I same. I kind of, you kind of go around. There is a lot of. It feels like everything's an experience, right? Everything's an experience platform or experience thing. Yep, everything's got AI. You can check the box on that for sure. I think definitely this year there was a good, solid continuing theme on the frontline worker and the frontline manager. We've talked about that a lot, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, we're asking so much more of the frontline leaders now when it comes to HR and engagement and all of those things. So nice to see that those products are making an impact. The winner this year of the Pitch Fest, I always like to kind of keep an eye on that. Last year it was a 401k transfer solution. This year focused at the frontline worker and the frontline manager. HireBrain, which is a solution that really brings a better collaboration and engagement between the hiring manager and the recruiter to create a much better outcome for the quality of hire and skill that they're attracting. So yeah, so I think you can see right that's a key thing. My thing is I love HR tech. I think it's a great, like you said, all the things that you mentioned, getting together, all the camaraderie, all the great excitement around what could be here with these technologies. But does anything really jump off the shelf and go, wow, that's that thing is really killing it or differentiating? I don't know, not so much. I think there's differentiators in each of their little pockets and areas that they're focused on that are doing some cool things. But I don't know that there's anything that is flying off the shelf or flying off the expo floor, and you're saying, wow, that's going to turn heads. And maybe the expectations are too high. Maybe we're expecting too much. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I feel like the noise came first, and now we're at the proof is in the pudding, right? Now we need to
yeah.
say dig in and see what each flavor looks like of experience in AI.
We'll see who's still standing, 2 years, 3 years from now, just like any of these things. But yeah, there's a lot of sort of same out there, and I think it's there's a lot of opportunity to differentiate. Maybe some of that'll come by acquisitions or, just accelerated ideas. We'll see. So, but there were a few notable announcements I think we should touch on as well.
Yeah, please. I know you've got a couple lined up here in our queue. Let's start with maybe
Yeah.
UKG.
Yeah, let's start with UKG. So UKG Ready is what I would call ready now, but no pun intended. But look, you can now have. So just to remind everyone, UKG Ready is going to be the down market, very powerful down market platform from UKG, whereas UKG Pro, the former Ulti Pro, is going to be your upmarket solution for HCM. But basically, Ready is now integrated with all of the great pieces and parts that make UKG special, and that would be UKG Bright, which is its Gen AI solution, as well as the Great Places to Work hub. So the Great Places to Work acquisition and data is now integrated and available for Ready customers. And they are obviously also integrated to the UKG OneView solution, which is, as we know, the Amitis acquisition for global payroll. And all of that is, being sold with the UKG Ready HR suite. So very, very powerful capability there, HCM wise, and all the enterprise grade things a small and mid market organization would need to really differentiate themselves from an HR perspective. So the rich get richer, as they say.
Great to see them bring that all together kind of very comprehensively for the down market. And
Yeah,
that Great Places to Work hub has been there for a little while. And the down market, will certainly be excited to get to see some of that. And the global payroll bit. The name itself doesn't necessarily describe that it's global payroll, but that's indeed what it is with Emetis. And so we
yeah,
know that small companies as well, or small to mid-sized companies, are becoming as global as some of the larger organizations. So cool
yeah,
stuff, all pulled
yeah.
together and integrated. So awesome.
Yeah, I mean UKG Pro is already getting pulled up market a bit, so I think Ready's going to start getting pulled more into the mid market even. So yeah, and I think this is going to help them with their international footprint, and adoption. These extra pieces. So keep an eye on them.
Will do. All right, let's shift over to our friends at ADP, huh?
Hey, hey, I'm Katie Van Horn.
And I'm Jackie Clayton.
We're your hosts of the Inclusive AF podcast, where we take on DEI, leadership, and HR without all the corporate fluff.
That's right. We've got decades of experience, a lot of opinions, and zero tolerance for performative anything.
Every week, we dig into what it really takes to build inclusive workplaces with honesty, strategy, and a few side eyes.
We'll talk about the tough stuff, power dynamics, privilege, what's broken in the system, and how we can all do better.
And don't worry, it's not all heavy. We bring receipts, laughs, and real talk from people actually doing the work.
Think of it as your weekly dose of truth, tips, and a little tea to help you lead with intention and show up for your people.
So if you're ready to push past the buzzwords and get into the actual work of inclusion,
You're in the right place. So subscribe to the Inclusive AF podcast.
new episodes drop every week.
Catch us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll be here breaking it down one inclusive convo at a time.
Hey, everybody. Got a quick question for you. Is your job easy, stress free, and full of rainbows and sunshine every single day? Yeah, I'd say that's a big fat no. Hi, I'm David Noe, host of Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners, and proud to be part of the Work Defined community. Take a step down into my Speakeasy live on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we tackle HR and business challenges through raw, uncut, unfiltered conversations. This is HR like you've never heard it before. Bold, real, and full of practical takeaways. Real guests, bold insights, authentic conversations that drive change. Catch every episode on demand through your favorite podcast platform or all the content at speakeasyhr.com.
Yeah. So look, next gen HCM now has a name, right? We've got which ADP is sometimes slow to do. They'll tell you that, but they introduced or really reintroduced, I guess you could say, ADP Lyric HCM with a tagline of "Built for the Rhythms of Work." So really leaning into a new branding and a new approach for what has been next gen or Lithion, Project Lithion in the beginning. So here it is. And so look, doing really well. I think that you could look at this as their mid-market, even maybe enterprise solution at some point. It is a capability that is very, very much next generation in terms of its capabilities to help customers and employees to, flexibly and intelligently navigate, right? And not have to be so encumbered by being a perfect user of a solution. So one of the things I think is really cool about this, Julie, no menus here, right? It's just a prompting sort of search experience, which is very intuitive based, right? To help you always get to the right place every time. And the best part is Lyric is natively integrated and underpinned by ADP Assist, which is their next gen or, well, generative AI solution.
Copilot type stuff,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
Copilot capabilities, and of course, ADP Data Cloud, which is the crown jewel of, in my opinion, of the ADP portfolio, and that is the rich anonymized data set that they have across the 50 some million users that they're producing HR capabilities for globally. So, yeah, very
Yeah.
good stuff here.
And great to mention, I think targeting the mid to enterprise-ish space, that's been ripe for something new. And this has been a long time coming. So I think there'll be a great deal of excitement here. And just wanted to mention too, it's global, right?
It
So,
is. Yep.
unlike, maybe Vantage and some of the things in the past that had been launched in this mid-market space, like this has contemplated and is very global. And that's cool.
Yeah, 75 plus countries, right? They're
Yeah,
saying, and obviously integrated with all of their global payroll capabilities, and certainly getting more native with Pi, right? The engine that they've been building for
exactly.
all their capabilities. So
Yeah.
shout out to ADP for bringing Lyric forward. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I love the name too, by the way. It was due a righteous name. So,
Yeah,
built for the rhythms of work sounds like a great tagline for this product.
yeah, I think Srini Katam, he's been at ADP obviously as the CHRO, now a very differentiated chief technology officer or chief product officer, have a great lens on that, and so I think maybe that's partly his stamp, right? Putting his design eye on it. So really excited to see what they'll do with this.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to another of the events of the month.
Yeah, let's talk Workday Rising. Now, look, I did a podcast, a really fun podcast. I was really appreciative to be on with Jon Reed from Dignomica. So we're going to actually run that as kind of a part B to this. So I'm just going to touch on Workday a little bit, some things I think you should keep an eye on. And then, check out the one I did with Jon Reed, where we got a little bit deeper into the Global Payroll Connect and some other areas of their HCM updates. But yeah, look, Julia, another healthy event, right?
Yeah.
16th Workday Rising. That seems kind of crazy to say that it's been that many times, but wow. 16 Workday Risings. Supposedly 32,000 were in attendance, about 18,000 were on the ground. So virtual folks around the world, right? 42 countries. I think one of the biggest notices I had was the fact that there was just so much more finance adopters this year. I didn't have any trouble. In the past, you kind of you can only find one here and there. This year, you could get a pop from the audience on things about finance. You're getting a lot more folks I was running to in the hallways, a lot more client cases where they were using both finance and HCM and Venly and other products, other SKUs from Workday. So clearly there's a lot more Workday shops coming out there and converting over from their two nemesis.
Yeah, and that's exciting. And I feel like that's been some quiet or stealth growth, right? That Workday has been focused on in the finance space. So exciting to see, that grow and some of the value of putting HCM and finance into a similar sweet spot. We'll have to do a whole episode on that sometime.
We absolutely could. Yeah, no, lots of progress there, I think too. And so some of the things I think that were new that caught my eye. Their product updates this year were very lengthy. You could go out to their website, see all of them. But lots of emphasis on the industry accelerators, which I think is really going to be good for these enterprises that are struggling with various different, white spaces, if you will, in their enterprise technology. So, with partners like Deloitte and Mercer, KPMG, they're building out solutions for various different sectors, pro services, retail banking, you name it. And each of those are going to fill those gaps and help, help Workday out in that way and their customers as well.
Yeah, and Workday users should think extend when you say that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So yeah, lots of cool stuff there for sure.
Yeah, Workday Extend is definitely getting more powerful. It's got even new solutions that are Copilot oriented, Visual Basics, microservices, that sort of thing, making it much easier to build.
You tagged also some wellness stuff, and I think that
Yeah.
is really cool. Not only have they introduced a new AI powered solution that's there, but also just knowing, that there's been more and more adoption of Workday benefits and
Yep.
Ben
Yeah.
admin, and so that's another area that sometimes doesn't get a whole lot of attention. And there's quite a bit going on in benefits these days. So
Yeah.
making another
No, that's a good
mental
point.
note that might be something else that we should talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good area where I think Workday, that one was a little bit sneaky, the
Yeah.
Workday wellness piece. One area that got a lot of attention were the new agents, right? The various augmented agents for employees around recruiting, around succession, even a payslip explainer, if you will, and expenses. Expenses got a big roar from probably that finance and HCM crowd around more automation and augmentation there. And then, of course, I think one of the cool things is that Hired Score, their talent and skills intelligence solution that they acquired earlier this year, is already getting embedded and integrated across capabilities. So you're already seeing that come to life pretty fast in a couple of different areas.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be payroll enthusiasts if we didn't mention a couple of really big announcements that I know you'll
Yep.
talk about in more detail. And I've actually blogged about in a little detail. One of those is Global Payroll Connect, which is
Yep.
kind of the next generation connection solution and evolution of that. All of their partners and a consortium of particular longstanding partners have really been working with. And also Workday Payroll by Strada, which is kind of the first time that we have a SKU where you can actually
Yes.
get to kind of the global payroll technology by Strata, and by extension directly with Strata can get to some services as well for something more than the Workday native countries. Just super exciting things there.
Yeah, I think GPC, the Global Payroll Connect, really is Workday's sharpening their strategy for global payroll, and I think what they're doing is they're leaning on their most trusted partners that have been there with them for years now, Strata included, Payslip, CloudPace, Safeguard, ADP, right? A longtime partners that have helped them innovate in this area, and like I said, really just put a more definitive stake around how they're going to go to market, and Strata is going to be a key part of filling in their payroll engine capabilities in those key areas, particularly Europe. So shout out to Strata, right? That's a huge thing, right? To have a payroll partner like that and have their own SKU. So very cool. And shout out to the firms, like I said, that are out there helping Workday bring this to life. So
Yeah, Workday has opened up the partner gates, and the ones that you called out, the ones that are kind of leading the pack there are the ones that have always been there and have had the most global coverage. Whereas, you can also find now in their network a whole bunch of folks that are partners, but might focus on a limited set of countries. So the consortium of those that are kind of leading the pack in this space are some pretty long-standing, trustworthy, and reliable partners for Workday in the global space.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I know we've talked about a few of those along the way as they've been announced. So I'm sure you guys have heard that. And I'm going to pop in your article, Julie, that you had on Strata when that announcement was made about them spinning off and that part of their news. So
Yeah,
we'll pop that in here as well.
for sure.
Yeah. All right. One other area I'd say, besides from GPC, I really think folks should keep an eye on is going to be Vendly, right? And that is Workday's solution for vendor management, right? Which is fundamentally their experience for managing contingent workforce. And look, you've got somewhere in the neighborhood of estimates saying 40 to 60 million Americans, 35 or so, 40% of the workforce has a gig job either as their primary or secondary. That's going up, right? There's plenty of research showing that we're going to see more and more of that. And I think that this solution just got a lot stronger, not only with the hired score capabilities that it's getting integrated, but also with the new, very quiet acquisition that Workday made and announced during the event, which was with Evisort,
Yeah.
which is a contract lifecycle management capability that really, augments and creates a better experience in the contracting, engagement process, but also helps companies negotiate the best possible deals for both their suppliers and themselves. So a lot of cool pieces and parts there. And I think you're going to see more and more capabilities coming into Vendly, and the adoption is just really strong here. So I think this is one of those products that you're going to see Workday doing very well with, and I think you could see it becoming a very nice fit between that HCM and finance piece of the puzzle, right? To bring those shops together. So
What I love about the Workforce Agility Limited Series by Cornerstone was we talked to executives and customers all about skills. Skills, 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 skills. Cornerstone has a wonderful background in learning and development, training, etc. Their LMS is world class, but they've centered the business now, not just on that, like building upon that, but building upon how everything has moved to the skills economy. So check out the limited series called Workforce Agility, and you can get it wherever you get your podcast. And it's just a wonderful series where we talk to their executives on the shift of why, and also their customers that are using it. So check it out. whenever you get a chance. Appreciate it.
Before we move on, I need to let you know about my friend Mark Pfeffer and his show, People Tech. If you're looking for the latest on product development, marketing, funding, big deals happening in talent acquisition, HR, HCM, that's the show you need to listen to. Go to the Work Defined Network, search up People Tech, Mark Pfeffer. You can find him anywhere.
I love this call out, Pete, because there are practitioners as HR begins taking on more responsibility for contingent workforce because they're tracked in the HCM solutions. We're seeing more and more strategies that are looking more broadly at the whole workforce strategy, gig workers, contingents, and employees, and the mixes of those. And so this just feels like a natural extension of that. And I know we'll be doing another podcast episode or so on contingent workforce, which is, I don't think one that we've tackled yet.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I think companies have to have that diverse set of channels for bringing in for direct sourcing, their talent. So yeah, this is becoming a more and more important piece. So I do think we're going to see a lot more adoption here. Julie, one other event I do want to pop in here after Rising. I went down to Orlando over the weekend in hopes of being at the iSolved Connect event. Unfortunately, Milton threw a wet blanket on that, no pun intended. And I was able to go see Mickey Mouse with one of my friends from the Disney company, one of the executives there in finance, and really appreciated that opportunity, but had to bail out of there. But don't worry, iSolved is actually going to put that event on virtually. It's happening at the end of October. And all of the content that we were all there to present. Myself, I was doing a class on next gen payroll and the future of payroll. That's going to go online. Some panels that we did, all of my peers' content, and of course all the content that was supposed to be there. So sorry that we didn't get to do that, but we will have that virtual. So if you didn't get a chance to, maybe weren't going to be able to be in person, here's an opportunity maybe to do that one in virtually.
That's awesome. And just before we leave events, I would be remiss if I didn't call out that just before HR Tech was the Shared Services and Outsourcing Week's fall event in Houston.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah. So always a great event. The SSOW events happen twice a year, and they are not only for HR, but for the broader global business services community with a focus on shared services and shared services delivery and enabling technologies. So that draws, leaders that are responsible for kind of the transactional and the shared services activities. So wonderful event as always. And I wanted to shout out along with that we're bringing back the HR Shared Services and Outsourcing Network events.
Ooh, very cool.
I've been waiting for this since COVID kind of put the kibosh on that. It brings, the same sort of folks, and it's practitioner-led content, so not salesy provider content. And practitioners in the past, I think we'd gotten as many as about 125 twice a year to the HR specific event. This one's coming up in Atlanta. Sadly, I know you and I will be crossing paths, so we won't get to see each other then. But it'll be in Atlanta, I want to say November 12th through the 14th. And so I'll be there and really excited to help grow that event again into something that is really focused on HR practitioners. So
I've never been to one of their events. I'd love to do that. So if you ever need a +1 and I'm in town, which I'm not in
Will
town
do.
for that one, I need to go. I've only spoken, I think, virtually at one of their events, but I would love to. I've heard some great things about the way they run them. And I think it'd be an outstanding audience, right, of captive folks.
Yeah. In fact, maybe I'll share you the link for the episode here in case folks are interested and have time to get on board, or just reach out to me in LinkedIn or somewhere else and I'll help you get connected.
Let's do it. All right, Julie, we had some acquisitions in the marketplace, and then we got a couple things we can wrap up with.
Yes, we did. I'm going to start with Zellis. Zellis, as many folks will know, back in the news, they were once upon a time spun off out of NGA HR in the payroll space. And the news is their acquisition of Benify, which is a global benefits software and total rewards solution. And so that has happened recently. And what I think is most interesting about that is that Zellis had already acquired Benefex. And so now you have them bringing in kind of the power and some critical mass of a couple of wonderful solutions and client bases for benefits and total rewards under, a SaaS platform, and excited to see what happens as you bring those things together. I think I've seen that they'll The combined organization is going to support about 3,000 companies in more than 100 countries with impact to 5 million employees. So bringing all those things together under Zellis, super cool.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Zellis keeps popping up in the news. Well, I'm definitely keeping an eye on them. So yeah, very cool.
Okay,
Very
what do you
cool.
got up your sleeve?
Paylocity has acquired Airbase, right? The finance spend management platform. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Julie. Which is interesting, right? It means we're pairing some now finance with which they brought with the broad HCM capabilities there at Paylocity. So yeah, just interesting, right? I think down market you're seeing a little bit of that, right? The Ripplings and some of the others have a bit of air quote finance, if you will, in their solutions, and so it seems like the all-in-one is starting to win out again and bring more of that together. So the ERP for down market, I guess you could say.
Well, listen, like you just highlighted kind of Workday's stealth, growth in that combined HR and finance market.
Yeah.
And, back in the day when before Oracle acquired NetSuite, UKG and NetSuite were very close bedfellows whenever clients were looking to do that same thing. So it seems natural that Paylocity probably also has quite a client base that's interested in bringing those things together.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's just interesting to see how the all-in-one fad will go, right? I feel like it's cyclical. Some points it seems like it's, it was here and then it went away and now we're back to it again. So we'll see if we stay there.
Yeah, yeah. You got another up your sleeve, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit more global payroll here, a little more consolidation as we probably have predicted and expected. This time by Payoneer, the cross-border payment services solution, more of a fintech provider, has dipped its toe into the global payroll and global EOR world with the acquisition of SKUAD, which is a Singapore-based organization. I think they were founded around the pandemic time, 2019, 2020. And so, yeah, it now puts Payoneer's fintech together with some global payroll and global EOR, and also kind of pairs up with some acquisitions they made as well earlier on with an AI data startup called Spot, which had also brought in some abilities to help with payments in China as well. So interesting stuff, right?
Yeah. What I think about that, Pete, is, you've long been following and watching the fintechs, even probably more closely than I have been, and starting to see a little bit of movement, from Payoneer here in this space is cool. And the other thing that I think is maybe, I'm going to just say, I think it's going to show up on our predictions for 2025 is the
Oh
consolidation
yeah,
and just all of the buzz and activity that's been happening in the employer of record space, the EOR
yeah,
space. And I think we're all anticipating that there's going to be, some form of consolidation and movement because we're seeing a lot of stuff, pop up across the radar. So cool on both counts. Hit two check boxes at one time.
yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, no, I think pay coming together with payroll, right? I mean, makes total sense, and you're seeing many of the global payroll providers do the same thing.
Yeah.
It just totally makes sense, and I think money movement, digital capabilities, just all of that. I'm excited. Look, I'm going to FinTech, or excuse me, Money 2020, the basically the HR tech of FinTech here in a couple months. I'll be coming back with some points of view to share, and we're going to be doing a bunch of podcasting with DailyPay for the source. So yeah, getting to talk to a number of those FinTech leaders out there about what's coming. And yeah, it's always exciting. It's always a little scary too. Some of the talk they have there about the dollar and that sort of thing. But hopefully we'll get better with that too. So
Yeah. I'm so glad you go to that because that's not one that I typically have
yeah,
on my rounds. And so I always love hearing what's going on. And I know it's coming up soon.
fascinating. Yes, it very much is. So, well, look, Julie, I have one more thing I want to share. Hopefully, for those of you who have hung on this long, I've got a little bit of news I want to share, Julie, if that's all right.
Yeah, please do. I think I know
Yes. I
your
am so
reveal.
excited. Yes. I am absolutely excited that I have finally technically made live my payroll influences forum, my Pi forum, as I'm calling it. And if you go over to payrollinfluences.com, you can check it out there. And basically, what this is I've created a virtual forum, if you will, a virtual boardroom for payroll executives, anyone who aspires to level their career up in terms of influence and eminence as a payroll leader is welcome. That's all of you, hopefully. And yeah, come over. We want to have conversations. We want to foster and facilitate conversations around leadership and again, raising influence and impact in the organization. And so, yeah, come over, hang out, check it out. We're going to be, obviously tinkering around over there and learning as we go before we have some more of a harder launch. But for now, it is open. You're welcome to come. Everyone's welcome. Come in, bring a friend, come share, come learn, and yeah, just see what we're doing over there. I'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And I've had the good fortune of a few sneak peeks as you've been cooking this up, and
Yeah.
will say, practitioners as well. So I plan to spend some time there, and be accessible through your forum. And
Thank you.
practitioners mostly, wanna network and hear from other practitioners. So I'm thrilled that you're gonna putting this up and launching it, and excited to participate and help with some of the conversations out there.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what, Julie, I'm hoping we can actually bring some of those conversations out of there and turn them into episodes. So,
That's right.
yeah, hey, look, if you've got something to share, come bring it, and let's talk about it. And who knows, maybe we could turn it into an episode here. We can share it with everyone, even broader, if we can. So, would love to do that. Awesome. And Julie, listen, one more thing we gotta make sure we point everybody out to is Work Defined, right? The Work Defined network. I don't know if you've been over there poking around.
I do poke around because you know what? They're
Yeah.
assembling such a cool consortium of people that are talking about the workplace, and the different functional areas and the concerns that are all a part of our world, that I always find something just new and cool to listen to.
Yeah, I am too. Head over there and check it out, guys. Seriously, we're really happy to be with the Work Defined Network. They're really helping us get the show out to more folks, and we're hopefully bringing more shows or our guests to some of their shows. I'm even finding shows that I haven't listened to yet, and yeah, just really happy to be a part of that. So appreciate you.
That describes too, if folks are starting to hear a break in, that sounds like a little bit of a commercial. It's a commercial for other shows that have similar topics that you might be interested in. It's nothing, it's not products and buying. It's networking with other cool content.
Yeah, we want to bring the other shows to our show. So yeah, and likewise, they're sharing us over there. So if you hear that, that's what it is. And yeah, go check it out. A lot of great content all across the workforce spectrum. So good stuff.
All right.
All right.
That's it for
Yeah,
now.
Julie.
Talk again soon.
Yep. Take care.